Welcome back to Games Revealed. I'm James Brink, and we are one. So today I want to talk about just another device that we've needed. We have not gotten enough of these in the past few months of announcements, and also what we're going to be getting this year and next year. There wasn't enough. They had to add another queue. So the ayaneo decided to make the Steam Deck 2 instead of Valve with the next two. Now, let's talk about it. It actually seems like a pretty cool device. And so definitely don't let, my sarcasm, avail this whole thing. Let's get into it. But before we do that, make sure to like, subscribe, bash that bell with your crowbar. Now, let's go to field trip mode. So, the ayaneo Next 2 handheld gaming PC has built-in touchpads and discrete graphics. Now, this article has even more about this. This is actually a pretty cool announcement in that hopefully we're getting closer to what we kind of want as a community. Now, that being said, this is kind of checks off a couple of things I've wanted in the next mobile device. I love the Steam Deck, and to be honest, if we were left with a Steam Deck for years, I would be pretty happy. But doesn't mean that I'm not going to dream and that I'm not going to do additional content like this. So with that, you can see right here the touchpads, right? Like at first glance, you're like, wow, they went really close to being what the Steam Deck is, in the sense of it has analog sticks, it has the D-pad, it has the, A, B, X, Y. Even some of the buttons at the top and the bottom are getting a little bit more similar to Steam, aka Valve's design. They even have the back paddles on this, which is cool. This is a cool device. That being said, those trackpads don't, like, at first I was like, oh, cool. It's going to be a smaller form factor, so it's going to not be so wide. It'll be just a little bit more portable. Well, there's two things that are going to stop that. One, with what they're trying to do modular-wise, modular systems almost are impossible to make slimmer than non-modular. Just the nature of having to add extra connectivity to it and bases and whatnot so that it pops in and is protected. Also, the touchpads, they're located in a very weird way. Like, putting my thumbs down that far is going to cramp. So they could use them for touch screens or mouse pads, that is, kind of like how the Steam Deck is. Can be used, like if you go into desktop mode, you can use it as a touchpad, like a mouse pad, essentially like a laptop, right? And so it's useful for that type of thing. I don't think it would bother me too much for that, but they put it on both sides, so I'm kind of assuming it's not for that. It's obviously for gaming. It's going to be mimicking the Steam Deck, and they're probably trying to mimic it as much as possible because the Steam Deck is very successful, and the closer one of these companies can get to a Steam Deck-like device that's smaller, sleeker, has all the bells and whistles of the Steam Deck, but even more, and then also a decent price range, which I guarantee you this thing's going to be in the thousands, 1,000 plus. I don't think it's going to be under 1,000 with the stuff they're trying to do with this. It just doesn't seem like it'd be possible and make it profitable, but who knows? There are a lot of devices coming out this year that are, edging that profitability out a little bit, maybe. I don't know. All I know is it's not like the Steam Deck is making a lot of money, if any at all, depending on which tier you choose. So these companies need to make money. I'm kind of curious how they're going to do it, or even how profitable this is, unless they get, a little bit higher than the Steam Deck. So with that, I still like the design. It does feel a little cheaper in some areas, but I think it's just this photo. I don't think the photo is the greatest. And then also the touchpads, like I said, I don't like the location. I actually like the Steam Deck's analogs being up top. My thumbs rest so much better, but this will probably be better for smaller fingers. So Linus, you're in luck, man. This is the deck for you, that is. A couple of things too. They're talking about this is going to be dockable, meaning the dock could potentially support discrete graphics. They could also have a module that hooks up to this that will support discrete graphics, which is very interesting. They talk a lot about different options this can be, while saying, hey, this is not a concept, where for me, I'm like, that's almost the definition of a concept, is that you haven't got a more solid design. You're still thinking it's going to be modular or not modular, or what part of it's going to be modular. That still seems conceptual to me. Meaning they might have, and it could be in the realm of they're running a bunch of different designs and doing tests, right? Design testing. That blurs the lines for me. So it definitely sounds like and the article makes mention that if it has Thunderbolt 4 or USB 4, theoretically it should be able to dock and be able to use a discrete graphics card, right? Now the latency will cause some issues, so it's not like it's going to be a one-to-one, like slapping, let's say, 3080 into that discrete graphics card dock is going to give you the same amount as if it was given to you in a PC. But it still is really cool that, hey, give me enough CPU power and then enough GPU power, and I might actually replace my main PC with something like this. Or bare minimum, I would use it as a really awesome alt for doing a bunch of different projects. And I still kind of do that with the Steam Deck. It's just there were some limitations with the Steam Deck that I would like to see remedied, and it looks like the 6000 series from AMD is going to do that. And speaking of this, they're thinking about doing the Intel Arc graphics, that is, and the AMD Radeon 6000 series. They're thinking about doing both. So there's probably a good chance there's going to be two different versions. And they've done this in the past a lot, ayaneo, where they've had AMD and Intel. So there's a good chance. My bet's on the Radeon 6000 series. The Intel Arc is just not getting good reviews. That being said, embedded, who knows, in an APU, in an API, who knows. So also going back up to here, they do talk about, saying, hey, you could have a lighter battery, you could have a heavier battery, and have those removable and modular in the back and be able to remove them. And then also you could have a module that was a D GPU that could have both extra battery and a dedicated GPU that's attached to a module that could be removed and maybe even upgraded or swapped out for another battery. Like, there's what they're talking about are like the wishes and dreams of me and a lot of other I think portable gaming people out there, that this all sounds great on paper. I'm skeptical. Once again, I'm always kind of skeptical when there's like too much of a good thing, tends to lend in the end not to be good at all. And so I want to see them do it. I'm glad that they're being ambitious. I want to see how they're going to go about it. This could be really cool, but if they make it too chunky, I might even be put off, and I don't even mind the chunkiness of the Steam Deck. If you can give me discrete graphics card in my deck, that'd be pretty cool. Battery-wise, I don't know if it actually makes sense, but if you can slap a big enough battery, maybe it'd be kind of like my laptop. But what I really want is discrete graphics in a dock. I want to be able to dock it and then be able to just have a pretty decent boost in performance. Another way that this dedicated discrete GPU could work is that if it turns on and switches on and is usable once plugged in. So if you have it in dock mode, it's then usable. I mean, there's also heat issues that we have to think about and all that other stuff. But that is one way. That's kind of a little bit how the Switch does it. And I mean, not a little bit. It gets a little bit more powerful as you dock it and give it more power. There's no reason why they couldn't do it here. And there's laptops that have this technology where they use the APU and then switch over to the discrete. So we know the technology's there and it's capable of doing it. So with that being said, that's going to be the next two. We'll see if the final form is actually this or if it's going to morph into something more reasonable. That being said, I'm not saying that I shouldn't say that this isn't reasonable. It's just, it definitely seems like a lot to put in a small package. And I think they're going to have a year or two to work this out anyway. So maybe not 2 years, but maybe, beginning of next year to mid part of next year. But it's so funny because we're going to scroll down here. One last thing is that look at their lineup. Their lineup is already pretty chunky. They have the Air Plus, the Geek. They have the ayaneo 2021, which I'm sure they're going to retire soon. The ayaneo 2, which they're going to be releasing. The ayaneo Air Pro, the ayaneo Slide, which that one is an interesting concept. Once again, adds more bulk with the way it is, but I kind of like the idea of having an on device keyboard. Then you have the ayaneo Next 2, and so it's interesting. And man, that ayaneo Next 2 definitely looks quite a bit different. It's quite a bit bigger. But I think that's a good thing in the end if you want that much power. So their lineup doesn't make sense. They need 3 different devices, in my opinion. They need one that's super portable and battery efficient for emulation, a mid one for doing higher end emulation, and just the balancing act of people that want supportability on the go and play some of their old games, and then they need a premium one. So like I could understand 3 devices, and then the third would be for playing pretty much AAA titles on the go. Maybe it's not going to be slipping into your pocket, but you could at least slip it into your backpack. That's the bare minimum, right? It has to slip into a backpack. The 3 devices, that's what these companies need. They don't need the different tiers, except for maybe storage. But even that should just be more of an add-on when you're getting the device, kind of like how we do it with laptops and other devices these days. So that's kind of my spiel on the whole thing. I know that I've mentioned this multiple times about so many different SKUs, so many different product lines. It's very confusing. And really, I mean, in here, they do have 2 devices that are being overtaken, I guess. So to be fair, we can minus out the ayaneo Next, the ayaneo 2021, the 2021. But everything else, man, it's too much in my opinion. But you know what? If they can make it succeed and people don't get too confused, then go for it. And that being said, that's my rant, I guess, on that stuff. I'm actually pretty excited for this. I might not have sounded like it, but I think this is going to be the start of even more innovation in the handheld PC gaming world. So I'm excited to see what they do, and I hope you are too. Let me know in the comments if you are, what you're excited about, what's your favorite part that we talked about here, because there's a lot that could be going into this device. I'm just curious to how successful it's going to be, or if it's just all going to fall flat. Yeah, let me know. Check out my other videos. Check out the description below. It has other goodies down there, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. Later!